Now, in the remote reaches of Arunachal Pradesh bordering Tibet, proof of China's intrusion into Indian territory has come. A bulldozer left behind by a Chinese construction crew when they were challenged by an Indian border patrol on the 28th of December last year. And these pictures on your screens are proof of what the Chinese left. This is exclusive to WION. Recall that WION was the first channel and Gravitas the first show to report earlier this week on the incident involving the Chinese construction crew being challenged by an Indian patrol in Arunachal Pradesh. The pictures give viewers and all of you an idea of how remote this location is, high in the mountains of Upper Siang district. So what were the Chinese doing here? They were attempting to lay a road across the line of actual control in the Tuting area. Across is Tibet, as you can see in the map, where less than 5 years ago, China completed work on a 117-kilometer-long highway linking 4 counties. And these are the 4 counties that China sought to link through that highway: Ningchi, Baizen, Doksong and Medog. The last borders Upper Siang in Arunachal Pradesh. Now, China says that this highway will give it access to these remote Tibetan communities 9 months a year and ensure their well-being, which is fine. But look at what this highway cost them to build, $155 million. Why would anyone spend this kind of money in an area so remote with so little economic activity? It's curious why the Chinese would spend this kind of money. And there's virtually no economic activity in this region. The implication is that the highway is more of strategic significance to the Chinese. And this is something that India needs to watch out for, because Upper Siang is now vulnerable to Chinese intrusions, as we've just seen on the 28th of December. This was probably one of the reasons why the Indian Air Force made operational an advanced landing ground in Tuting in December 2016. India saw this coming. The landing ground is about 30 kilometers from the line of actual control. What does it do? It facilitates monitoring of the border, including movement of Chinese military convoys. It also gathers intelligence, and in the event of Chinese intrusions, it can be used to rush troops and equipment. So very, very important for the Indian side. But India needs to do this all along the line of actual control. One region is not enough, because China's infrastructure development in Tibet is pretty much complete. Look at what they have. China has, over the last 20 years, laid more than 3,100 kilometers of highway, and this runs all the way from Xinjiang to Tibet. Much of this highway runs along the line of actual control with India. Add to that 1,100 kilometers long Golmud to Lhasa railway line. Also in Tibet, there are 14 air bases spread all over Tibet, built by the Chinese over the last 2 decades, and a massive network of optical fiber communications. So in short, China has the ability to open up virtually any sector along the line of actual control with India. China's infrastructure development in Tibet serves another purpose. Under the instruction of President Xi Jinping, the People's Liberation Army is cutting its force strength to under 1 million men. There is a parallel effort underway to build its airborne forces, its air force and strategic rocket forces. The aim is to better serve China's expanding overseas interests.
All officers and men should build their fighting spirit, fearing neither hardship nor death. They must train hard, overcome difficulties, overwhelm their opponents, and forge the most skilled and powerful force that is always ready to fight.
More interesting from an Indian point of view is what is happening in the Lanzhou and Chengdu regions. And we'll just bring that up on the map on your screens. In 2016, these were the regions designated as the Western Theatre Command, tasked with the defense of Tibet. And look at the areas: Qinghai, Xinjiang and Chongqing. And this includes securing China's interests in Pakistan-occupied Kashmir and the borders with India. The force on the ground is backed up by at least 400 aircraft of all kinds, which makes for formidable numbers. So how does India respond to all that China is doing along the border? Our infrastructure development is lagging far behind, we have to say. Of the 73 roads prioritized for construction, only 30 have been completed so far. The new corps tasked with the defense of the northeastern border along the Chinese border is still in the process of being raised. And serious equipment deficiencies and capability gaps remain that will take time to be bridged. Every day that there is no confrontation helps India, and India has to work on that. In the meantime, Diplomacy goes on. India's major foreign policy priority in the new year is definitely going to be China. Note that Vijay Gokhale, who will succeed S. Jaishankar as Foreign Secretary of India at the end of this month, is a China hand, a known China hand, a Mandarin speaker. He was also ambassador to China earlier. Jaishankar was also a China hand, and so was Shiv Shankar Menon and Nirupama Rao, who could deal with China better than others, than their peers. The diplomatic engagement with China will continue despite pinpricks on the border, and that is something that India has made very clear. In fact, author and journalist Bertil Lintner believes that China has no interest in resolving the border dispute. It sees it as a useful leverage against India. But China doesn't want war either. It will press India on the Belt and Road Initiative, hoping to get India and its 1 billion plus market on board. At the same time, they will exert pressure on India's periphery, and that's what they've been doing over the past few months. China will step up efforts to displace India in Nepal. It will seek to undermine the India-Bhutan relationship that it tried to do in Doklam. China has offered to invest billions of dollars in Bangladesh, another neighbor of India. China has already scored major gains in the Maldives and Sri Lanka, playing checkbook diplomacy almost everywhere where India, places which India sees as its spheres of influence. Prime Minister Narendra Modi and China's President Xi Jinping will continue to meet at various fora, but there will be little give and take from President Xi at least. Do not expect any improvement in India's $50 billion trade deficit with China. That's what most experts are saying. China sees India as a rival in the Asian strategic space and will use every weapon in its armory to undercut this country and confine it to the South Asian box. China's incursions into the Indian territory have almost become normal, as we've seen, but India has constructed a road, the world's highest, and now it is giving China sleepless nights. Here's a WION exclusive report.
China has not been able to digest the resistance India put up in Doklam. It is thus conspiring against India ever since the confrontation ended. Security and intel agencies say China has been involved in more than 40 incidents of incursion from Ladakh to Arunachal Pradesh. On December 28, Chinese soldiers crossed over to the Indian side in the Tooting area of Arunachal Pradesh. They were 1 kilometer deep into the Indian territory, and the Chinese were equipped with construction material. But stiff resistance from India ensured they had to retreat, and India is now better prepared to retaliate. Today, we tell you about a road India has constructed that is giving China sleepless nights. We'll take you on a journey from Demchok to Chushul. Demchok is about 1500 kilometers from Delhi, and China has its eyes set on the region. This journey wasn't easy for us. There was snow all around and not a sign of habitation. No one to help if needed. And then what we had feared happened. A little later, we arrived at the road that connects Demchok and Chushul. The Border Road Organization has constructed this 86-kilometer road. This is now the world's highest road. This road in Jammu and Kashmir's Ladakh now passes through Umlingla top at a height of 19,300 feet. It wasn't easy to build a road here. It's too cold and the temperatures hover around -20 degrees even in summers. In winters, the temperatures dip as low as -40 degrees. Oxygen is in short supply. We arrived at this village in Chushul. The area had witnessed war between China and India in 1962. The people of this area resisted the Chinese back then, and even today they stonewall Chinese intrusion attempts. Still, these are some of the most backward areas when it comes to education or healthcare or cell phone connectivity.
हाँ, जैसे अभी कुछ ही साल हुआ है मोबाइल का सेवा आया हुआ है, लेकिन देखिए ये मोबाइल का सेवा अभी प्रॉपर नहीं है, क्योंकि इंटरनेट का तो नील है.
But the new road connecting Demchok and Chushul gives hope that development will begin and the hardship people face will go away. With camera person Pavan Kumar and Manish Shukla in Chushul, Digvijay Singh Deo, WION.